Hi, friends. Welcome back to the Sober Bartender podcast, the show where we recover from life. I'm your host, Brandy Kelly. So today is actually Mother's Day. This is not going to come out on Mother's Day, but I just had a lovely day getting to celebrate mothers. So to all you mothers out there, happy belated Mother's Day. Oh, if you're here, you're not here on accident. We're doing this together. I'm really glad you're here. I say that, but I really hope you guys know that I mean it. Like it's really important to find your thing. And I say that I say that a lot, but we'll get more into that as the show goes on. But today I want to talk about what's in your way. Like, what's blocking you? What is stopping you from feeling like you are living the most magical, magnificent, fabulous, abundant life? Is it your family? Is it your job? Is it your bank account? Is it your location? Really think about that. Before you think about what the problem is, I would like you to take some time and just picture what that life looks like. What does your life look like if everything's out of the way? What are you doing? Who are you? How do you feel? When you wake up in the morning, what do you do? Who do you talk to? And how do you talk to them? Because keep in mind, all of your problems are solved. So you don't need to call and complain, and you won't need to call and gossip, right? Because you've got it all. You're there. And these questions are not just for you. These are for me as well. But like really sit with that. Like let's just take some breaths and let that really set in. I don't know if I've ever actually been there, right? To the place where everything is perfect, where I can't find any fault with anything. Um, the only thing that seems to come close is probably my wedding day. It was moments, and I think we do get glimpses of those moments. Um, sometimes when we're with family that we haven't seen in a long time, and just that joyous reunion and that feeling of your heart being so full, you're not thinking about anything else. But the concept and the idea of everything is exactly as it should be. Like, is it possible? I think it is. And let me tell you why. Because it's how we choose to look at things. Like, what are we focusing on? I left the grocery store. I got out of work and came home and fed the dogs. And I ran to the grocery store because we were out of dog treats. And you do not want to be in a house with these dogs with no treats. So I go to the store and, I grab not way too much stuff. I just got stuff I needed, but, I grabbed the little carrying basket. I go through the store and I'm rushing, but I walk out of the store and it's like, I don't know, 7:45 p.m. And there are the best sunsets ever from the front of the grocery store. So like instead of being focused on the heavy load that I was carrying, that I was rushing to get to the car, I had to just stop and like look up at this sunset and look at the clouds that like looked like they were coming off of it like in waves. It was incredible. Like it was mind-blowing. And I felt really happy in that moment. I felt like everything is as it should be. And so there are a lot of ways to work on this viewpoint. Um, and I feel like gratitude is something that's really helpful. It's something that my sponsor implemented early in recovery for me, and it's something that I like to share with people when they're having a hard time. And it offers two things if you hold yourself to writing a gratitude list. First thing that it does is it forces you to look for the good. What is good? When everything may be falling apart or everything's kind of blah, or you're in a hurry, or you can't be bothered, taking time to write out, I stick with 10 things because it feels like too much. And if it feels like too much, that means that you're going to have to force yourself to get uncomfortable. And that's where we grow, is in that discomfort. So choosing 10 things that you're grateful for is having you look for the positive things in your life. And not only that, but it's also structure. You're creating a deal with yourself, only for yourself. So if you're a mom, or if you're a wife, or you're, a daughter or a sister who does everything for everybody else, taking this time to make this list is actually like a little gift for yourself, that you just get to stop and take time to look and see. And I do tell people when they first start out, you can keep it simple: sunshine, oxygen, roof over my head, warm running water, and then the more that you do this, the more it gets in, like it gets more in depth, and you start really being grateful for specific moments. You get more in depth with what specifically you're grateful for. And then you kind of have something to look back on. If you do this every morning, first thing in the morning, and your day starts taking a turn, you have kind of a bookmark to go back to go, oh, but this sweet beauty in my life. So I do feel like part of shifting our perspective is part of what's in our way. I have this, I came across this question, which is basically what I said. If your problem was completely solved, so let's say we're talking about something specific. We all have problems. We all have problems that we put off. We have problems that we avoid. We have problems that feel like they are absolutely crippling and the end of the world. My world has been about to end many times, and I can assure you that it never has. So when I say everything is going to be okay, I mean it. Everything. Will it be exactly how you want it to be and exactly when you want it to be? Probably not. But is it better sometimes? Oh, yeah. It absolutely is. So, asking the question, if your problem was completely solved, how would your world be different? So let's think about that. How would your world be different without this problem? If your problem was completely solved, what would you be doing different? So what's stopping you from doing that different thing now? These are big questions. These are deep thoughts. These are deep dives. But change, I mean, there's change that happens that's outside of our control. And it feels terrible to feel like you're not in control. But guess what? We're not in control of anything but us. And guess what? We're the slowest to do the work to change. Us. So if it's within your grasp to heal something or to grow something or to change something, I think it's worth the discomfort. It's worth the fear of the unknown. It's worth it. It really is. So I often ask myself, like, where's my joy? Like, what brings me so much joy that I'm just bursting at the seams? And sometimes it can come like immediately to mind. And other times, like, I'm searching and I'm like, come on, B, like, this is what you do. Like, this is what you offer to other people. How can you not zero in immediately on your own? So it's something that I know it's challenging for people, especially if you're early in recovery or if you're struggling. But for all of us, this applies to every single one of us. It's like sometimes you just feel like you can't remember what makes you happy. And so investigating ways to find joy is something that I highly suggest. Playing. What play do you like? My dear friend Cami, I talked to her a couple months ago and we had a really in-depth conversation, but something that she said stuck in my head where she said, I have to listen to my good words at least once a day. And her good words are, YouTube talks and, just different talks that just put her in a good mind and heart space. So for her, I think, it's just different spiritual and thought leaders. For me, sometimes it's Steve Harvey, sometimes it's Gabby Bernstein, but that's something to where when I'm feeling like my mind is spinning or there's just too much going on, I go to my good words. I think of my good friend Cami and I think, okay, I'm going to listen to my good words. Sometimes it's opening a book that I love. I mentioned this early on in the Facebook group. I love rereading my same books. Like I have new books because every time I go to a bookstore, I need to get a new book. But I have like my old faithfuls that I just feel like it's coming home to like curl up and climb into that book. And I don't read stories necessarily. I'm not opposed to it. Everything I read is basically about healing or growth but recently, I think it was day before yesterday, I opened up Dr. Wayne Dyer's The Power of Intention. And that's been a favorite of mine for quite a while. But I opened it up to this page and it says, no one can ask another to be healed, but he can let himself be healed and thus offer the other what he has received. Who can bestow upon another what he does not have, and who can share what he denies himself? And that's actually an excerpt out of A Course in Miracles. But reading those words reminds me that I'm right where I'm supposed to be. Because I'm here offering what I have and giving away what was given to me. I've received all of this loving guidance and knowledge, and I'm here to share that with all of you. Anyone who wants to listen, thinks about listening. So I do have some joyful prompts, some ideas. Like I said, good words. an uplifting book. Go outside. We need the sunshine on our face. I actually went to the doctor and I was healthy. My labs were perfect, but I was actually lacking vitamin D, which is crazy because we live on the South Texas coast. Like I was living north of Seattle and I didn't have a problem with my vitamin D. So go outside, get 5 minutes of sunshine on your face. Call a loved one. That is one of my go-tos, is call my mom. But you know, if you have a person, don't overthink and think, oh, they're probably busy or they don't like to talk on the phone. Call them. Call them. I love to write. I have journals. I have like 4 journals, 4 different things. Like one is my meditation. What am I to know today, God journal. Another is my Course in Miracles journal that I journal my coursework in. You know, another is my love journal, and that's like my marriage journal between me and my husband. I have another for Recovery Dharma. So there's all these different things to where when I'm in a different headspace or there's something different going through my head, I get that down. I did talk last week also about just doing a morning brain dump. Waking up in the morning, taking a sheet of paper and just writing every single thing in your head down. This is such a relief because you don't have to keep juggling it because now you've got it out. And then you can focus on what you're doing. If you have a morning routine, this is when that morning routine kicks in. If you don't have a morning routine, I would love to offer you suggestions on morning routines. But I'm here on a mission. I'm here to empower people to live in their purpose and live their lives in joyful alignment. And in the meantime, I'm doing that with myself too. There's so much in our way, but so much of it, we put it there, you know? So much of it is in our mind. So many of our roadblocks dissipate when we get focused on something else. I highly suggest also therapy. Therapy is a lifesaver. It does not mean there is something wrong with you. It does not, you don't go in there and have someone fix all your problems, but you do have someone who is trained to help you solve your own. You can't put a price on that. Also, coaches. What does a coach do? Like, think about it. Like a personal trainer, a fitness coach, you have a goal. You go to this person and you say, this is what I want. And then they break it down into actionable steps. They actually teach you how to do that thing that you're trying to do. So there are business coaches, there are mindset coaches. I'm a mindset coach. Recovery coaches. I'm a recovery coach. Where it's basically, if you don't know what your goal is, if you don't know what it is, then these people have the questions to help you narrow down and focus on what it is that you want the most, how long it's going to take you to get there, and what route you're going to take to get there. What actionable steps? What's your roadmap? What do you want it to look like? And the neat thing is, you get to write this. You get to write your story. On a previous show, I did a mini bonus episode before the podcast actually came out, I think. I couldn't wait until, January 4th when there was the release date. And it was called, Are You Stuck in the Story You Tell About Yourself? And I believe that so many of us are stuck in our story. We've told this story about ourselves over and over, and we don't ever stop and investigate the story and ask if it's true and ask if we like it. Do I even like the story that I didn't like the story that I was telling with myself. Like, I didn't like the story that I was telling about myself that I'm an alcoholic, or that I bulldozed through people's lives, that I was trash. If you talk to my best friend Candy, she will say, that was not my experience. But if you ask me, oh, I was a terrible friend and I was such a pain in her ass, I think I'd like to reinvestigate that story. Everything's not black and white. Everything's not either or. It's an and or. Like, I can be multiple things at once. So, this life, this journey, it's a trip. Like, there's no blueprint that we can remember. There's no outline that we get to follow. So we're winging it. But do you ever just sit back and just realize that, like, you could pack up and just move somewhere else and just be someone else? Like, you don't have to be who you have been just because that's what you know. I don't suggest packing up. I don't suggest uprooting yourself. I'm just saying, you can rewrite this. You absolutely can. I do want to talk. We talked about gratitude. We talked about finding joy. We talked about joyful prompts and finding your thing, finding your outlet. The original question is, like, what's in your way? What's stopping you? What is stopping you from feeling however you want to feel, feeling happy every day? Like, we don't have to be happy all the time. I think that being overly positive isn't experiencing your full range of emotions. I think we need to feel and experience every single thing. We are humans. Life is a classroom, and we need to take the curriculum. But I do most enjoy when I am happy. And I can definitely see where I'm holding the pen for most of the moments where I am unhappy. So I can be frustrated with that, right? Like, I can be bummed out about that fact and be like, man, I'm my own worst enemy. Oh, I'm totally in my own way and I don't know how to get out of my own way. Or I can just go, wait a minute. Let me set all this down. Let's set this down. Let's set this idea down, or let's set this concept, or let's set this schedule, or this idea, this idea that that's just the way it is, or that there isn't any other way. It's just not true. There's always another way. But how do we get out of our own way? I mean, I had to get out of my own way, and I've shared a lot of the tools and tricks. There are no flipping tricks. You just got to do it. But I've shared some of my processes with you. I needed structure. I needed a routine. Structure was very, very helpful for me when I was making major life changes. Gratitude was very, very important to me when I was making major life changes. Meditation was very, very important to me because staying present is a gift. I heard in a meeting one day years ago, somebody said, if you always keep one foot in yesterday and one foot in tomorrow, you piss all over today. I know that's inappropriate, but it's true. I mean, our anxieties over tomorrow and our worries about what's gone, we're using right now to worry about that. Right now is our life. Right now. So is there another way that you can view right now? Now. And now. Like, can you choose to be amused instead of irritated? Can you choose to be hopeful instead of fearful? Can you choose to be thankful for an experience instead of guilty or ashamed? Can you shift how you see it? Can you look at a situation and wonder, how would Brandy see this? Like, that worked for me when I with my old sponsor Sarani. Like, oh, it's Sarani, tell me right now. And now she still pops into my head. I miss her terribly. Like, picture who you want to be and then ask yourself, how would they react to this? What would they do? How would the me who I want to be use this time or use this moment? How does she talk and how does she interact? How does she respond? How does she schedule? How does she set boundaries? How does she love? Because that version of you that you want to be, it's you. It's already you. It's just a matter of getting to that place in you. But if you want it, if you seek it, you will find it. Like, you're not going to wake up every day and be like, yes, I want to be positive today. And then every single day just get smacked down. Are you going to get smacked down sometimes? Probably. Yeah. But nothing that you continue to work on can you fail. You cannot. It may take you longer than you want, but you will not fail. I believe in you guys. I believe in like everyone that I come in contact an obnoxious amount because I know it's possible. Like, I am doing the impossible in my realm of reality. It was impossible that I was sober, that I was happy, that I was married to an amazing man that treats me like a queen and respects me and adores me. And this was impossible. This podcast, impossible. It doesn't seem like much, but my world was pretty small because back then it was hard to go to the mailbox because I just couldn't bring myself to get to the door. A shower seemed impossible some days. This life it's beautiful if you're willing to see it that way. I really appreciate everyone who shows up and listens every week. If you're new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. Here we talk about recovering from life. We talk a little bit about my recovery from alcoholism, but we also we talk about whatever life has in front of us. And we look for ways to ease our suffering together. Wherever you're at in your life, in your journey, is totally okay. You are right where you are supposed to be. I believe you're on the brink of greatness. I believe that if you feel like there's a little glimmer deep down inside of you, I feel like it's time to ignite that. Like I do so much visualization, like visualize that there's just this little, like a sparkler, like that little sparkling light just in the center of my chest. And as I breathe into it, that sparkle just gets brighter and brighter, and it starts just bouncing all around. And I feel like I can picture it just all the way around me and just encompassing my aura, and it's just sparking and it's shooting little sparks out at you and you and you. But that's in all of us. It really is. So if you're struggling, please know that you are going to get through this. So please don't give up. I am so glad that you are here. I'm so glad that you are alive. You matter. If you're enjoying the podcast, if you enjoy the show, please take time to rate, review, follow, subscribe, like if you're on YouTube. Help us get seen in the algorithm. Still pretty new. So anything that, can help people find the Sober Bartender podcast. Tell your mom, tell your cousin, tell your coworker, spread the word. Is there somebody out here that needs to hear this? Thank you so much for being here. I love you guys. I will talk to you next week.